Welcome back, warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We have breaking news. This happened early this morning, I believe around 3 a.m. that a Democratic lawmaker, a Minnesota Democratic lawmaker was shot and unalived. Her and her husband. The name is Melissa Hortman, and she is a Democratic lawmaker out of Minnesota, and her husband Mark was also unalived at their home. Now, another Minnesota Senator John Hoffman and his wife were also shot at their home, but they are believed to be, they are going to survive. It appears that they're going to survive. They are currently in the hospital right now, but I found this out just a few hours ago, but it happened around 3 a.m., I believe. And guys, this is breaking news. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of backstory on this whole thing, okay? And I'm going to show you some clips. But let me see who's in the chat. My girls, want to recognize everybody. Michael Rodriguez, hello, my husband. Ideally for you, Regina's Voice, Journey with Rhonda. Hello, everybody. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share this video everywhere. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I was trying to hurry up and get some information on this, but from what I understand, there was a bill that they had to vote on. And keep in mind that these are both Democrats. Again, we're talking about Melissa Hortman and also the John Hoffman. John Hoffman is a Minnesota state senator, okay? And Melissa Hortman was a Democratic lawmaker out of Minnesota. And so anyway, there was a bill that they had to vote on about providing criminal illegals, health care, and she voted against her party. Okay. I've done videos about how much the Demon Rat Party wants to keep illegals in this country, no matter what they've done. Okay. I've done videos on that repeatedly. I talked about how it has to do with them getting more congressional power, how they really want these illegals here, and they're going to put, sweeten it up and provide them all kind of health care, provide free things. Well, Melissa Hortman voted against providing, according to what I've read. Okay, this is according to what I've read. She voted against providing illegals health care. And according to something that I just got a whiff of, allegedly, Tim Walz said that the Democrats have to be meaner. Okay, I wasn't able to verify that. I want to verify to do another video, a follow-up video, but it's really, really quick. I normally don't even work on Saturdays, but allegedly that's what he said. Okay, you guys can let me know in the chat if that is what he said. And then after that, you have this shooting where her and her husband are shot and unalived at their home. And then this other lawmaker I told you is shot, him and his wife, but they are expected to live. Now, this is wild to me. And the day of all days that it happens on No King's Day, which is, of course, President Donald J. Trump's birthday, you have all of this chaos, thousands of people. And then this man looks like he was appointed by Governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. And I'm just going to show you, what I do have on this. This is so crazy to me. I mean, this is turning into some kind of, I don't know. This is not America that I recognize. Okay. I want to make sure I turn this up.
We are asking for the public's help at this point in time in locating Vance Boelter, who is a 57-year-old white male.
We're here today because an unspeakable tragedy has unfolded in Minnesota. My good friend and colleague, Speaker Melissa Hortman, and her husband Mark were shot and killed early this morning in what appears to be a politically motivated assassination.
What I worry about is the people who will lose their health insurance. I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and I'm
See, what what gets me is how emotional she was about voting the way that she did. She literally gave up her life for something that she believed in. She was shaky. Her voice is very shaky. She, honestly, y'all, this needs to be investigated to the fullest extent of the law. Nobody needs to be getting away with things like this. This is absolutely tragic. Her and her husband, and they have 2 children, by the way. She was 55 years old. To know that both of their parents were left this earth that way, that has got to be horrifying. Horrifying. I cannot even begin to imagine what this would feel like. But let me find another clip here for you to see. Y'all, people have been saying different things, but I'm going to listen to Governor Walz right now. You know, I'm looking at him with the side eye. Just so you know, I'm looking at him with the side eye.
Going to be joined by Commissioner Bob Jacobson, BCA Superintendent Drew Evans, State Patrol Colonel Christina Bogoyevich, Champlain Park Police Chief Snyder, and Brooklyn Park Police Chief Mark Bruley, as well as the mayor of Brooklyn Park. We're here today because an unspeakable tragedy has unfolded in Minnesota. My good friend and colleague, Speaker Melissa Hortman, and her husband Mark were shot and killed early this morning in what appears to be a politically motivated assassination. Our state lost a great leader, and I lost a dearest of friends. Speaker Hortman was someone who served the people of Minnesota with grace, compassion, humor, and a sense of service. She was a formidable public servant, a fixture and a giant in Minnesota. She woke up every day determined to make this state a better place. She is irreplaceable, and we've been missed by so many. Minnesota's thoughts and prayers are with her family, her loved ones, her children, and her parents. My prayers also go out to State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, who were each shot multiple times. The Hoffmans are out of surgery at this time and receiving care, and we are cautiously optimistic they will survive this assassination attempt. This was an act of targeted political violence. Peaceful discourse is the foundation of our democracy. We don't settle our differences with violence or at gunpoint. In the state of Minnesota, and as recently as last week, in the most closely divided state legislature in the country, we sat down, we worked things out, we debated, we shook hands and compromised, and we served the state of Minnesota together. We proved that it's possible, even in these politically charged times, to find compromise and adhere to the principles of democracy and civil discourse. We must all, Minnesota and across the country, stand against all forms of political violence. At this precipice moment we're on, this tragic act here in Minnesota should serve as a reminder to all of us. The democracy and the debates in the halls of Congress, in state houses, in school boards, is a way to settle our differences peacefully and move society to a better place.
Now, what do you think about Tampon Tim Walz? Okay, we know we call him Tampon Tim because he wanted to put tampons in the boys' bathroom. We know that. And, you know, again, allegedly he said, because I wasn't able to find the clip of where he said Democrats have to fight harder and be meaner. Okay, and I think that vote had already taken place. And I'm going to show that clip again of her. Oh, I just can't. We have gotten to the point where we are willing to do anything to get power. We have gotten just to that point. It is wild to me. It is absolutely crazy. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but you did see where she was very emotional. She was very upset that she voted the way she voted. You know, she felt like she was doing the right thing. And I wanted to find this, but I'm just going to read some things that I found. And again, it was about healthcare for illegals, guys. Healthcare for illegals. All right. It says here, Minnesota Senator John Hoffman and State Representative Melissa Hortman have been shot. And John was not unalived, but he's in the hospital. And it says, in a politically motivated assassination in the United States, gunman who was shot, the 2 lawmakers was dressed like a police officer and driving a fake police car. A manifesto with a list of names was found inside the car. The suspect fled the scene and is still at large. So he is still at large. And here are their pictures right here. Melissa Hortman and John Hoffman. That's them right there. I don't want to read some of these things because, you got to say allegedly, okay? Here is his appointment by Governor Tim Walz. Here's his appointment. As you can see, it says State of Minnesota. This is dated December 2019. Notice of appointment. The suspect's name is Vance Boelter. He's a 57-year-old Vance Boelter. And you can see right here with the seal up at the top and the name, Tim Walz, Governor, State of Minnesota, dated December of 2019. So this is a Tim Walz appointee, according to this document. So should this document be correct, and this happened, these are Minnesota Democratic people, and this woman voted against her party. So this, I'm not saying Minnesota Governor Tim Walz had anything to do with it, but it does not look good. Okay, it does not look good. Coming on the heels of him saying that, coming on the heels of her vote. And this person is dressed up with a mask. I'm going to show you what that looked like. I'm going to show you what it looks like, what he looked like, rather. And here it is right here. This is coming from security footage, okay? It looks like he's got one of those masks on, and looks like kind of scary Halloween mask kind of thing. And he had a fake police car. This is the security footage of the home, okay? And the suspect has been identified. He was appointed by Governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. Okay, he belonged to a number of groups, and I tried to find what I had found earlier, but this man has a lot of Democratic connections. Okay, again, it's coming on the heels of how that vote went, and we know how desperately. And today is no King's Day. Today is also President Trump's birthday. This man had no King's paraphernalia on him or in his vehicle. He fled on foot, I believe. So he's still out large. He's still at large. He's a fugitive. He's running from the law. So there have been 4 people shot, 2 unalived. It can't be, our nation cannot be turning into this. I have told you guys, they are desperate. Remember the video I did about the ugly reason or the sick reason why the Democrats want the illegals? And I said that they are desperate. They are desperate. Okay. Nothing is worse than a desperate, evil politician. Okay. And that's the suspect, Vance Boelter. I'm going to be very careful with my words, but I'm telling you, this does not look good for the governor. Okay. It just does not. I'm going to show you something else as well. Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for. Yes, this is something else. No, that's not what I wanted. But anyway, here's some other pictures of the security cam footage. You see it right here. He's in a vehicle that looks like a police car. These are the 2 lawmakers that were shot. Oh my gosh, it is absolutely crazy. What is this right here?
There we go. Yeah.
So suspect, this was the first alert that went out early this morning. White male, brown hair, wearing black body armor over a blue shirt and blue pants, may misrepresent himself as law enforcement. Do not approach. Subsequently, they added a little bit more information and instruction to people living in that area, which is, Karen, they were talking about the number of officers who are going to, if they come to your door, there's going to be 2 or more.
Right. It sounds like we have our own Paul Bloom that's going to be live for us. He has a new interview to share with us and some new details as well. Hi, Paul.
Yeah, hey, Karen, good morning. This is the first time since got a chance to talk to you since joining our coverage. We are in the Edinburgh golf course general vicinity. I mean, certainly well within the lockdown range, probably maybe I don't know, 3 football fields away from the Hortman house. I want to get out of the way of the shot because we have focused so much of our attention this morning on what we believe. We don't have 100% certainty, but that is Melissa Hortman's, the Hortman's driveway. That is that what we believe is that fake squad car, police vehicle that the gunman, the alleged gunman, was traveling in this morning. Since he fled that scene on foot. The reason why I wanted to get to us just as soon as possible is while they've been in and around, we saw him in the back seat. They've now opened the hatchback, the back of that SUV. I'm seeing some pink coloring, maybe, you know, like a file containers, if you will, out of that back area being removed. It's hard to see. Again, while we are close, we are certainly not able to get right on top of that, but that is a focus of major attention right now. Investigators combing that vehicle. I've been describing it this morning. It's black. There's no clear markings from our vantage. We have a pretty good zoom on our camera. We don't see any, you know, distinctive, as if it were a stolen squad car. We believe it's sort of just faux, fake, made to look like a squad car with those old kind of flashing, lighting, strobe lights up on top. You don't typically see now with the modern day SUVs, the undercover looks. But that is what they perceived was a police car in the driveway. You think about that's where the manifesto is found this morning, the No Kings that has state authorities on alert telling people not to go to protests today. There's the encounter on the front stoop just feet away from that squad car where the arriving officers from the Senator Hoffman shooting are here to check on Melissa Hortman, make sure everything's okay. All of a sudden they encounter someone who appears to be police, dressed like it, has a taser, has the vest, has the uniform, has the badge. It almost looks like the Brooklyn Park Police Chief. Mark Bruley mentioned that. There's an exchange of gunfire. We understand he said something on the stoop, ran into the house, and then disappeared out the back. I have to point out, perhaps on that map you've been showing, but on the back side is just the golf course. That's the Edinburgh golf course. And from there, you know, that suspect could go in any direction. I mean,
all right, so there was shooting. He said something to the officers. There was a shooting. He went back into the house and fled out the back door. This is absolutely insane to me. I mean, I cannot believe this. So if people don't get what they, and you know what's even worse? There are people out here saying that Trump had something to do with this, that president, they're literally blaming it on President Trump. This does not look like it had anything to do with President Trump. It did not. And here is her again.
I know that people will be hurt by that vote. And we worked very hard to try to get a budget deal that wouldn't include that provision.
DFL Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman emotional following the House's adjournment from a special session Monday. Hortman was the lone DFL lawmaker to cast a vote to cut Minnesota Care access for undocumented immigrants. It's a move she made with a heavy heart.
I did what leaders do. I stepped up and I got the job done for the people of Minnesota.
The bill was deeply unpopular with members of the DFL caucus. Members have repeatedly expressed frustration that the bill was part of a compromise, one that would ensure the necessary GOP votes to pass the rest of the state budget.
We are tremendously disappointed and gut-wrenched at this decision, at this compromise that compromises our communities that are most vulnerable.
Hortman knows she let down her own caucus members with the vote.
They're right to be mad at me. I think some of them are pretty angry. I think that their job was to make folks who voted for that bill feel like crap, and I think that they succeeded.
Over in the Senate, a similar situation unfolded. Senate Majority Leader Erin Murphy forced to vote for a bill she too disagreed with to uphold the integrity of their compromise.
This one hurt. I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and
Hortman knows she let down her own caucus members with the vote.
They're right to be mad at me. I know that people will be hurt. I know that people will be hurt.
Disappointed and gut-wrenched at this decision, at this compromise that compromises our communities that are most vulnerable.
Hortman knows she let down her own caucus members with the vote.
They're right to be mad at me. I think some of them are pretty angry. I think that their job was to make folks who voted for that bill feel like crap, and I think that they succeeded.
Over in the Senate, a similar situation unfolded. Senate Majority Leader Erin Murphy forced to vote for a bill she too disagreed with to uphold the integrity of their compromise.
This one hurt. This one is a wound because of its reason. My colleagues across the aisle set this.
And let me just say, this thing right here says she was unalived over a vote. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's what I'm hearing, that is alleged that that's what happened. I just noticed that this was said right here. That is not me. This is this clip. That is not me. I'm just playing this clip.
This as their number one priority.
I know that people will be hurt.
But anyway,
I know that people will.
Anyway, you get the idea. There was a whole thing with a vote, and she was upset. It looks like they were very disappointed. She talked about how angry they were at her, and that another person was forced to go along with it. They're very disappointed. They were very mad at this woman. Now, I'm not saying that's why she's not here anymore. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. That's alleged. That was put out there. But it looks, even Governor Tim Walz said this was politically motivated. Okay. This is oh, wow. This is again happening on No King's Day. And he had a list of Democrat politicians' names with him as well, because he fled on foot. And there was a lot going on. There was a shootout and he let out the back door. So he is on the run right now. I hope they catch this man. I hope they catch him. Okay, we got to be praying for the right thing to be done. But I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that I knew what was going on. And I did not want to wait when this story, got a little cold, but I'm going to still follow it because this is major news. The day that it happened with all of these protests, this might trump the protests. I mean, this woman votes a certain way, and then now all of a sudden she's conveniently not here anymore. Conveniently not here. Allegedly because of a vote. It's what I'm hearing. And this man, Vance Boelter, 57 years old, white male, on the run. Her and her husband gone. And the other lawmaker, him and his wife, are in the hospital, expected to survive. You know what? It just come to me, I think about how other countries have run, like Russia and other places, of how they treat their political opponents. What happened with President Trump last year in Butler, he's still here, thank God. But this is how serious it is. And I told you guys, these people are desperate to maintain power. I'm not saying they had anything to do with this, but it does appear to be politically motivated. It appears to be. All right. And it does not look good for the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. It does not. This man was appointed by him. And some people are trying to make it seem like he's a Republican. This man is not a Republican. Okay, like he was appointed by Tim Walz, who's a demon rat. He also has Democrat ties, and he also unalived, allegedly, he's the suspect, allegedly unalived someone who voted against the Democrats, and they were already upset with her. It makes no sense for a Republican to do this when she voted with the Republicans. It literally makes no sense. Okay, now that's what they got out here online on social media, is that it's the Republicans, it's the Republicans. Demon rats, their playbook: cause chaos, play the victim, cause more chaos, play the victim. And then they point the finger and blame somebody for what they've done. And I'm not saying I know much about anything right now because I want to be careful with my words, but that is the suspect. And he had this Halloween looking mask on, dressed up like an officer. It was about 3 a.m. They opened the door and he just let loose on her and her husband. And they are not here anymore. I am just so, I just cannot imagine. I just can't imagine. And thank you so much, Fed Up Patriot. Thank you so much. I'm going to read your comments. This guy is well trained. Hope he is arrested. My guess is he won't be around to talk about why he did what he did, specifically if the Democrat Party is behind his actions. And we say if, And it says, okay, let's see. What do we have? I have been praying for our country and will continue to pray. Satan is having a field day right now, but good will always conquer evil. Yes, the mask was creepy. It was very creepy. I missed the whole show. Okay. Same here. He was working in private security. Okay. I also remember Walz said he knows that. I remember him saying that. I do remember Tim Walz. I heard that clip that said that he knows shooters. I forgot what did it. I'm trying to remember what event that did that have something to do with what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. I'm trying to remember where that clip was associated with. Where smoke, there's fire and racism. They say no king today, but we say God is king. Absolutely. That mask was a reference to Breaking Bad. There's a famous line where he says, I'm the one knocking on the door. Oh, goodness. Oh, y'all. But that's the news. I know I don't normally do a video on days on today, but technically it's not the Sabbath anymore, sundown. But I wanted to get this information out to you guys. I wanted you to know, and I wanted to see if there's anything else I can show. And then you've got comments from Senator Amy Klobuchar. She remembers Hortman as a good friend. It says former Vice President Kamala Harris said she was an outstanding public servant and will remember her for her compassion, humor, and sense of service. You know, you've got all these comments from different people talking about how they remember her. But that mask I showed you guys was very creepy, and it looks completely targeted, politically motivated. Could it have been because of how she voted? Okay, could that be? And they're also, you know, when things like this happen, it is a message to other people that you do what we tell you to do, or this could happen to you. Okay. So now everybody's scared that, you know, if they don't toe the party line, you know, we don't know how deep this goes. We don't know. I'm just saying, if allegedly it could have been, you know, somebody in that state legislature. I'm just saying it does look quite bad. And this needs to be dealt with quickly, very much quickly. I did not watch the protest today. I was spending time with family. You guys can let me know how that went. But again, a Democratic lawmaker out of Minnesota, Melissa Hortman, was shot and unalived, along with her husband, Mark, who was shot and unalived. And a state senator out of Minnesota was also shot, him and his wife. His name is John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette. But they are in the hospital currently and are expected to survive. And the belief is that it was because Melissa voted along with the Republicans not to provide health care to illegal immigrants. And she was the lone one that did that, according to news reports. And it just seems to me that this is why she was shot. I mean, that's just my opinion because of the sequence of events. But we don't know. But you know, something happened. This was politically motivated to me. And I'm just being careful with what I say. So you guys, let's stay prayerful out there. The enemy's busy and it's so chaotic. It's so chaotic. I don't even know, is this going to be like a protest every weekend or every day now? Let's see what else you guys are saying. It says suppositions are abounding with this situation. Hopefully there will be an opportunity to hear his actual reading for his violent actions, also his wife. But it's pretty interesting, the connections. Oh, wow. It's so scary. She did what's right and paid with her life. We are living in very dark times. That's what I said too. She tried to do what is right. Because, you know, the people, like, what other country can you go in and get all this free stuff if you're there illegally? You go anywhere, they want to see your passport, why you're there, how long you're going to be there. You can't just do what you want to do, but they expect that from America. we have somebody else in the White House right now. We got to continue to pray for his safety and our safety, because I have desperately been praying. It says, do you really think that he will live to tell the story? Okay, I think I read yours. Gosh, very troubling times. It's so crazy. But guys, that's really all I have right now. But I wanted to provide that information to you guys so that you can, I'm sure you already heard about it, but I wanted to get on it before it got too cold or anything. But this is not going to get cold, because this is going to be an investigation and they're going to be looking for this man. So I got to make sure that I stay on top of it. So maybe I can be one of the first people that, report on this as soon as he is captured. And I don't know if he's going to take his own life or what's going to happen with that. Okay, we don't know. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, select all notifications so that you always get the notice of my videos. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors. Good night, everybody.